Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new camp build. So today we are heading back into the forest to build a kind of stone cottage under the trees with a couple of really quite cool features. So let's jump into this one. So, the inspiration has been a little lacking recently, but I was pottering around on the internet, as one does, and saw some interesting bits and pieces that kind of gave me the idea of building a stone cottage, which is something I've kind of played around with before, but we're taking it out a bit further, so quite a cool concept here. So, looking at where we are on the map, we are up in the northwest corner of the forest, just down from Vault 51 and WV Lumber there. There's a kind of path that runs just up from the road here towards Vault 51, and just off to the left of it, there's this little flat area that's kind of cut out of the slope. And it works pretty well as a nice little spot to build, so not too bad. Kind of easy to miss, but a cool little spot here. So I've got one foundation in already, because it makes life a lot easier. And we're going to go with a 3x3 here, which is a bit chunkier than I really wanted to go with, but it kind of works out well anyway. I ended up using wooden foundations here, but I'll change them out in the decoration phase for stone ones, because that always seems to happen for me. It just looked a little bit better, and the footstep sounds weren't an issue, so... Up next, we're going to double-side some walls. So I'm using the contemporary set here, as I often do. The basic stone set, brick set, will do the job as well. But I need to double-side these so I can have wallpaper on the outside if I want a stone-looking finish, rather than a brick one, specifically in this case. So, flying all the way around the outside, we now have doors on both sides all the way around. Let's get some internals in now as well. I'm sure these are wallpaperable on both sides. This second row of internal walls, actually, I'm not going to be keeping. These are just here so that I can put some walls on top of them upstairs in just a moment, but they'll be coming out later. So, log cabin stairs in the middle there. Flip them around so that they're kind of sitting where I want them. Get some floors in here. Doesn't really matter which way you put the floors in right now, because when I come to change them out, inevitably they're going to be the wrong way round. For now, the plain ones are fine, and we'll get some walls in for our bedroom. So my original idea was to have full-size walls in the centre here, and then the half ones just all the way around. Should have gone for half walls the whole way around the building, rather than using those tall ones, because I had to change them out, but we'll come to that in just a moment. And up here again, we're going to double side. So this is a bit more tricky with the half walls. So I'm going to drop the flamethrower in there now that I've got these walls in facing the wrong way around, technically, inward. And we're going to flamethrower them. Now, if I get this right, I should be able to do them 2 at a time, or 4 at a time if you think about the charge on the flamethrower. So I should speed the process along quite nicely. There we are. Definitely a handy technique, this one. Most dramatic. There we go. So now we can put the half walls on the inside. So we've got wallpaper on both sides up here as well. Just carefully pop those back. Here we go. Last couple. Job's good. And you do need the double walls underneath as well to do this, just to make sure they snap in place, particularly by the stairs, I should say. So, I initially went here for the roofs with these sloped ones. I'm actually going to change my mind on that in a bit, as the triangular gaps are a bit problematic. Basically, you can't double the triangular pieces that fill those gaps. From what I've heard, it's supposedly possible, but if it is, it's definitely not worth the hassle. So, we'll change these out 4 corner ones, rather, in just a moment, once I figure out my slight issue. You can see our wooden frame is kind of coming together. Let's get some porches on the front. I have no real idea why I went for the Helvetia set, but it adds a splash of colour, so can't complain too much. It worked out alright. Any porch set will do, though. So we'll take these extra walls out I don't need now. This is going to be our spacious living room. And we'll start thinking about moving it forward a bit. So this is where I kind of figured out that the triangles were going to be more problem than they were worth. So... we'll swap them out for the corner roofs rather. Same one here, and we'll do the same upstairs in the bedroom as well. There we go. Nice. Now I will be plugging these triangular gaps up, but they'll create their own issue that I will come back to deal with later on. But for now, that's one problem solved. So I sort of decided here that I wanted a window at the top, but obviously not at the bottom, because that'll basically just look into the living room. So having the full-size wall doesn't really allow for that, so I'm going to have to take that out and put 2 half walls in. If you do that in the first place, you'll save yourself some hassle, because I have to come down here and put this wall back in, so that I could put the 2 half ones in there. Pro tip, if you do need to put the walls back in, start on the inside of the staircase, if you have one of these staircases in, otherwise you won't be able to get them to snap in. So you need to do that in the right order. But, now we have done, we can change this over. So, there's 2 half walls. We're going to need to flamethrower these so that we can put the internal ones in. Double side these. So to do this, I'm going to grab a table, specifically this kitchen table, because we'll need a bit of extra height so we can flamethrower the top wall as well. There we go. Nice and easy. 2 for 1. Helps again. Don't really need to destroy the roof there, but we'll worry about that in a minute. Now we can get the internal ones in, like that. By the way, I will be changing these windows over, but for now, it's just easier than faffing with it. Plus, more light is not a bad thing when you're building. And we will repeat the same process over on this side as well. Nice. Store that. Get these ones in. And I'm going to put some triangular fascias in here to plug these particular gaps up with. But the problem this creates is that we have wood on the outside when the rest of it's going to look like it's stone. And obviously I won't be able to wallpaper the outer surface of these. So I will change that later for something that's actually going to look much cooler. We'll come on to that in just a moment. For now, can take this out and go and repair some of those broken walls. So I'm going to swap these out for just double-sided walls and get rid of the doorways, going all the way around. And we'll adjust the windows as well where I want to adjust them. I'm going to go for, with the exception of that top one there, close the walls on the front and the back and windows on the ends. There we go. Just like that. Where we don't have roofs sitting across windows. So, pro tip, don't accidentally delete this one, because you can put it back, but it's a right pain. So, yeah, try and avoid yourself that bit of hassle if you can. Took me quite a while to get that back in. But I'll deal with that off camera. For now, we're going to head around here and start wallpapering. So this catacomb wallpaper set was from a season a little while ago, but it does provide a nice kind of rough stone exterior. There we go, looking pretty cool. So, heading back up top, we're going to put a slanted roof here in the middle, just to make the whole thing a bit more interesting, because the flat one really doesn't look that great. And now we're going to change out these triangular fascias for the appropriate sloped ones. But during the decoration phase, I'll come back and adjust this one more time, because the wooden exterior obviously contrasts with the stone, and not really in the way that I want it to. So I'll replace these slanted ones for greenhouse pieces, which are going to look way better and let a lot more light in. So that should be cool. That basically concludes our building. So a couple of adjustments aside, I'm going to head off, decorate this thing, and we'll come back and tour it in just a moment. And here we go. Several hours of decoration later, this comes together quite nicely, I think. So this little spot under the trees is a nice little flat area of ground. You've got all the best bits of being in the forest, really. You're sort of off the beaten path, and you've got the wonderful colours of the forest in the background there. But a nice flat open area to build on as well, once you bulldoze most of the trees and stuff anyway. There would actually be a few extra bushes out front here as well, but I had to get rid of those basically so I could get a decent picture of this place. You can see where I've changed the sloped roofs at the top there, sloped walls rather, out for glass ones, the greenhouse ones. That's the rustic greenhouse set that makes for a much better look. And we've got a chimney sticking through the roof there that we'll come back to in a moment. We'll have a little look around the outside first, because I needed a crafting space, and this solution came together really nicely. I'm really pleased to be able to use this tent for something. I've used it once for a full build a while ago, but it works really, really nicely here, and this flat ground means that it's not floating, and there's enough space for it, and it worked out really, really nicely. So I've got a collectron and my Radstag dressing station there, just to provide the essentials. Let's have a look at this crafting space. So with this being a cottage, having all of these workbenches inside really doesn't make a lot of sense. So I needed to put them somewhere, under a tent outside, because it's kind of rustic vibe, and works quite nicely. I had a few little bits of decoration around. The ground in this spot is just flat enough that as long as you don't push things too far into the corner, it doesn't really float either, so it worked quite nicely. Big compact trying to get stuff into here, and unfortunately because of the nature of low roofs and the tent and so on, a lot of blueprinting was required to make things stay on the ground rather than having them jump up to the roof of the tent. But it came together quite well, I think. A little decoration here and there, just add a splash of colour and a bit more interest, and comes out with quite a nice little crafting space. Loads of bits of junk knocking around that are going to be torn apart and salvaged for doing repairs and assembling various bits and pieces, but gives a nice little vibe to the space. All of the benches, all of the storage boxes are needed around as well. Put a few crops in there, just add a little bit more decoration. Unfortunately, the grass stays bulldozed, so it's a little bit plain down there, but it's okay. One cool thing that I was quite surprised to see worked, but it did, was that the vines will snap on what is technically the inside of the walls, because these are double-sided, obviously. So I was able to put the little green vines all over the walls and really kind of change up the tone and the look of it a little bit. Because these catacomb stone wallpaper is really nice, but it's maybe a little too bright in some ways, so kind of pulling that back a little bit with the vines worked quite nicely. Didn't put any up top there, because I'd have just the one half wall with vines on it, sort of on its own, so I just did it down the bottom here. And obviously can't put them over the doors, otherwise you can't walk through them, but it does look rather cool, I think. I've got a very simple little player vending spot here, nice and easy to find, just out on the veranda. I wanted to keep it simple so it didn't kind of overwhelm the rest of the look, so it works quite nicely there. Simple, clean, a few potted plants, a little bit of nature going on, and a really nice place to hang out on the porch here. We'll head on inside. Kind of a posh-ish, country-ish living room here, I think, but it came together quite nicely. You can see the fireplace there. This one is was added from a season earlier this year, and there's a top section that snaps onto it that allows you to extend the chimney height to meet the roof. In this case, it's going right through the roof, because I took the roof off, snapped that extension on the top, and then flamethrowed it so that I could snap the roof back through it, which means it sticks out the top and actually kind of looks better for it, I think. So yeah, it was quite nice. Got some nice dark panelled wood contrasting with the wallpaper there on either end. I think it looks quite nice. Use the wine rack there, wine rack display case again. Last time I used this, I couldn't quite get it to act as a display case. I didn't really know why, but I think it was probably because I just wasn't getting close enough. To activate it, you seem to have to get really, really close, which is a bit odd, but it works. Used some larger bits and pieces to decorate this particular display case as well this time, because it's quite big, and bigger objects just look a little better in there, and definitely looks better over some of the occasions I've used it in the past. So let's head upstairs before we continue our journey around downstairs. It's kind of a detour. This bedroom space was a little awkward to decorate with a hole in the middle of the floor, but it works. Kind of standard bed arrangement for me down the end there, and it looks pretty cool. Nice and light and airy in the daytime if you want to spend time up here. Less ideal for, getting sleep, but it looks cool. Got the little makeup station there. It came from the last season where we had all of the movie-themed stuff. It was quite fun, and adding that little dressing station there works quite well. Otherwise, you can kind of improvise one. That kind of works better as a single piece and has some decoration on it. Had a bit of a nightmare trying to persuade some of these decoration objects to sit under the roof. I don't really know why, but got there eventually. Whole load of plushies beside the stairs, because, well, it was otherwise dead space. It looked quite fun. Do quite like how those slanted greenhouse walls have turned out up here. Works well with the stone on the outside, plenty of light, which looks a bit more interesting. Comes together quite nicely. Plushie collection is coming on quite well. I've still got a few that I didn't manage to put in there as well, so got quite a lot these days. Just swing back around. Use a couple of extra lights around as well, which is quite nice in here. So it had a little bit more illumination and a little bit more kind of furniture and interest and busyness. I decided not to merge anything into that particular sort of sideboard over there, as unfortunately the shelves are not all even heights, which makes for a bit of a nightmare when it actually comes to merging things. You have to kind of guess it and eyeball it, and it takes, I mean, it's doable, but it does take quite a long time, so I decided against. Looks okay though. Just light the fire, because why not? A very kind of cosy, homely little living room, this. Took the Hoover under the stairs there. The little sideboard by the door there. Yeah, and kind of not overdoing it works quite well, I think, in this occasion. It's not too busy, it's just kind of neat and clean. Yasmin's kindly opened the kitchen door. She has a bit of a habit of doing, but we can kind of live with that, I think. Head on through. This place is narrow, to say the least. Reminds me of a kitchen I used to have that was really narrow. In fact, that one was even narrower than this. But there is enough room to squeeze by. Got a nice little country kitchen vibe. Making use of that new turquoise kitchen set that we got a few weeks ago on the Atomic Shop again, and really happy to have that. I've wanted this for ages. Again, Yasmin's cooking station is about the only thing that kind of sort of maybe blends in. A little dining space down at the end, and she's opened my back door as well, which is not very helpful of her. Oh well, I'll lock it later. Gives me an opportunity to stick my head out the back. And as you can see, we've got a little bit of space out here, which was necessary to make sure I could double-side the walls. So I've kind of added some extra bits and pieces. We haven't actually got a bathroom in this house, so there's an external shower. And we'll see the outhouse in just a moment. I'll make use of the back space in that way. Good look at the vines on the stone wallpaper there, looking pretty good. I think it's a good combination. There's our outhouse. It's a bit basic, but it's functional. I had to take the stairs off this door in order to put the plants in as well, and I decided the plants were more important than the stairs because I couldn't get them to go back in either, so I could have fought with it for a while. It just didn't seem worth it, to be honest. Looks okay. Nice little... I like that table. It's kind of rustic, basic looking thing, kind of works quite well. It's a bit of a contrast to all the sort of white walls and the white, sort of the clean kitchen stuff, but there isn't really anything that quite fits at the moment, or that quite fit the vibe I was looking for, so quite happy with this. I did have to flamethrower the lower set of worktops there in order to get that top set of cupboards in on the wall, as it's a bit temperamental, particularly, well, they all are, but particularly that one with the mixing arm on it. They're all a bit, yeah, awkward to say the least, but I'm still really happy to have them. I've been crying out for a nice kitchen set for a while. I like those pans on the half-barrel pan holder thing up there as well, which is pretty cool, I've got to say. Getting some good use out of that thing. Definitely happy to have it. I do quite like this kitchen. I guess the lack of bathroom notwithstanding, anyway, I could see myself sort of being quite comfortable in a place like this. I mean, the lack of internet would be cruel and unusual, to say the least, but otherwise, I think we could live with it. Definitely got that nice homely vibe, I think. Got some cool pieces added recently in terms of decoration, both in the kitchen and around the sort of lounge stuff as well, and display cases. But those have been doing quite well. I would really like to see some new skins for different workbenches, other than just the couple that they seem to regularly update. But other than that, we've had some really fun stuff lately, so can't complain too much. There we go. Hope you folks enjoyed that little walk around a camp that I quite like the look of, I have to say. Particularly pleased with the combination of the stone and the vines there. If you did like the video, please consider dropping subs and likes. I very much appreciate. As always, social media links, merch store, our channel memberships all available down below the video as well if you want to support the channel in that way. I really appreciate it. It massively helps out. So huge thanks to everyone who's done that already. If you get a chance, join us for the Starfield content as well. We've been doing a few outpost builds and apartment builds and things like that in Starfield and having a good time with that, as well as streaming the living daylights out of it. So I do hope you'll join us for those, as well as the Fallout streams, which will be recommencing later this evening. But for now, I'll say a massive thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.